Hey, what is up you guys, it's Dustin and I'm back with another video, and in this video I want to discuss Dan Schneider, his response to Quiet on the Set, and everything that has happened since. I have watched the first 2 episodes, I have 2 more to go, but I do have a ton of notes and I want to read an article and respond to what Dan Schneider is saying. So if you guys are here for that and my thoughts on this situation, stay tuned to this video. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into this. I'm going to link the article down below. It's by Hollywood Reporter. You can read along or you can read it for yourself. The title of this article says, Dan Schneider breaks silence after watching Quiet on the Set doc. It hurts really bad. Exclusive. I wonder what this weirdo has to say for himself. How can you excuse away or apologize for the things that people have alleged against you, Dan Schneider? You having that woman Christy bend over a table and then say things and act as if she was having something done to her is absolutely abhorrent and gross, and we're not even going to get into the misogynist guy. Like, we're not even going to get into that. Or maybe we will. We'll see what this article has to say. This article starts by saying, The Hollywood Reporter has obtained a reaction video in which the former Nickelodeon producer talks about cutting scenes from rerun sexualized content in series, on-set messages, Drake Bell, Amanda Bynes, and more. I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology. You don't say, Dan. You don't say. You literally traumatized all of these people. And the way these people described you, you were a tyrant to everyone around you.
Dan called me at home and he asked me if I was conspiring against the company. He had found out that the guild was now requiring him to pay for our separate salaries, and he wanted to know if I was the one that made that happen. Because if I find out that you did, you're never going to work for Nickelodeon again or for any Viacom project. I was terrified because I'd never seen him quite that scary before. And also, angry too. He had gotten caught.
For him to even feel like it's okay for him to show his face to offer an apology is wild to me, so let's get further into this. An apologetic and at times emotional, Dan Schneider has broken his silence after viewing Investigation Discovery's Quiet on the Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV, a 4-part docuseries that made claims about toxic workplaces for children actors and crews on Nickelodeon series he created and ran. Watching over the past 2 nights was very difficult, me facing my past behavior, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology, Schneider told Boogie, who played Tebow on iCarly, in a 19-minute video interview that was shot after the former Nickelodeon producer watched Quiet on the Set, which aired Sunday and Monday nights on ID and Max. So you think that you just running your mouth and saying that you're sorry is going to fix everything that you've broken and the people that you've harmed? Because you guys, it wasn't just Dan Schneider that was here. We had this Jason Michael Handy guy, and this documentary goes way in depth about what he did and the things that he was doing, and it's just absolutely sick. And then when you couple that with this whole Brian Peck guy who was writing letters to John Wayne Gacy and then telling the parents of the children that were on these shows like it was some kind of like trophy or some kind of funny pun in a joke that he was a pen pal with a serial killer? Why were these people that were running these shows not vetted? Like, why did that not happen? Among the allegations leveled at Schneider, who was once called the Norman Lear of children's television in the New York Times, include that he tolerated toxic workplace conditions and that he allegedly tormented and humiliated the cast and crew on his TV sets. The way he treated the screenwriter Jenny and the way she described the things that he had her and Christy do, like him sending instant messages to people to have them scream out whatever it was that he wrote, like hammer or slut or skank, is absolutely wild to me. How is that allowed?
He liked to play pranks and jokes, which at first seemed fun.
In the beginning, I would see, instant message pop up. Dan would send a message for you to say out loud, scream hammers, and you scream it. And then it would be, more degrading, like scream, I'm an idiot, or slut. And if you didn't, he would send you the message again, caps, exclamation points. He would scream out, say it, until you did.
Not only because that's wildly inappropriate, but there was also children around that could hear this. When I watched the show, I could see the hurt in some people's eyes, and it made me feel awful and regretful and sorry. I wish I could go back, especially to those earlier years of my career, and bring growth and the experience that I have now, and just do a better job, and never ever feel like it was okay to be an asshole to anyone, ever, Schneider said in the video exclusively obtained by The Hollywood Reporter. The prolific TV producer had stayed tight-lipped in the weeks leading up to the ID doc series premiere, but on Monday, after the first night aired, representatives for Schneider responded to claims about sexualized content and toxic on-set behavior, saying that everything that happened on the show, Dan was really carefully scrutinized by dozens of individual adults and approved by the network. So that doesn't mean anything. You're just telling me that these people agreed with everything that he was doing and that they were all right with Ariana Grande sticking her foot all the way in her mouth and him getting massages from child stars like Amanda Bynes. So this for me really isn't helping Dan Schneider's case, not even in the least. Now he's speaking directly and addressing specific allegations and stories of abuse. In the 3rd episode of Quiet on the Set, Drake Bell, the star of Drake and Josh in The Amanda Show, named himself as the John Doe victim in Brian Peck's sexual assault case. Schneider in the new video claims he did not hire the Nickelodeon dialogue coach who was convicted of sexually assaulting a child actor in 2004, now known to be Bell. Bell's name was never previously revealed in open court. When Drake and I talked, he told me about what happened. I was more devastated by that than anything that ever happened to me in my career thus far. And I told him, I'm here for you. Yeah, I bet you are, you weirdo. And to me, it doesn't matter if you hired Brian Peck or not, because apparently you guys were thick as thieves. At one point in the interview, Schneider teared up when recounting Bell's mother coming to him for help to write a speech to read before the court at Peck's trial. She came to me at the time and she said, Dan, I'm not good with words like you are. And would you help me with my speech for the judge? I said, of course, and Peck ended up going to prison and serving his time. This to me comes across as him saying he did the crime, so he did the time. What this guy Brian Peck did to Drake Bell, he should have really paid the price for, like automatic gas chamber for me. I said this in my last video, I think people like Brian Peck need to be made an example of. Schneider also recounted Bell having to attend a sentencing hearing for Peck, where the convicted predator side of the courtroom was filled with supporters. A lot of them were pretty famous, of course. Drake was devastated that that happened, and even more disappointing, 41 of those people wrote letters for Peck's character, letters praising him for who he was and asking for leniency, he recalled. What kind of leniency should he be given? He was preying on children on the set of a children's TV show. He was pen pals with John Wayne Gacy. I have a real hard time understanding why they would be okay with this. Did they know this? Because that's the determining factor for me. If they knew all of this stuff and they still wrote these character letters, then every single one of them need to be held accountable for that as well, because clearly he was found guilty. Hollywood stars named in Quiet on the Set for having written such letters include James Marsden, Taran Killam, Boy Meets World stars Ryder Strong, and Will Friedle. And we discussed that in the last video that I made about this. That was probably the darkest part of my career, Schneider said. And here's the kicker that I really don't get. After Peck got out of prison and was a registered offender, he was hired on a Disney Channel show. I don't understand that. If this is not a pot, meat, kettle situation, I don't know what is, because you're trying to dog on Disney when you were doing all this weird, creepy stuff with Nickelodeon. Dan Schneider had so much power, and it's clearly evident in this Quiet on the Set documentary that he wasn't just a horrible person. He was a repugnant person. The Hollywood Reporter has reached out to reps for Nickelodeon, the Disney Channel, and Bell for comment. It's understood that Peck voiced the role of Mirror on the 3 episodes of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody for Disney Channel. Sources also insist Peck performed the role entirely in a voiceover studio, well away from the series set, and had no interaction with the cast crew members, including minors. The Hollywood Reporter has also learned that after learning of Peck's conviction, Disney fired him immediately and replaced his voice in on-screen credits, as they should. In the post-Quiet on the Set video, Schneider explained that he did not hire Peck for work on all that. When asked if this was a Tala and Robbins production, Schneider responded yes, as he referred to the one-time production banner led by longtime producer-directors Mike Tollin and Brian Robbins. Background sources at Paramount, where Robbins is currently president and CEO of Paramount Pictures after one point overseeing Nickelodeon for the then-parent company Viacom-CBS, told The Hollywood Reporter that he was not in any way involved in hiring Peck to work at the kids' TV network. Schneider's recollections of his years at Nickelodeon, where he created hit programs like The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious and Sam and Cat, follow his critics alleging online and in Quiet on the Set that he was inappropriate to young females who worked for him and that he wrote inappropriate scripts for uncomfortable child actors to perform. And you guys, if you watch this documentary, they had so many in there. They talked about Noseboy in this documentary, and you could clearly tell that this upset this guy that they did this to. But it wasn't just him, that was a pattern, because they also spoke of the fetus rapper. But aside from that, does anybody else remember Amanda Bynes and Penelope Taint?
Get back in line!
Sir, apparently you don't realize who I am, please. My name is Penelope Taint. I just happen to be Amanda's #1 fan, please.
Why would you name a character like that for a child actor? Penelope Taint. What's even more wild than that is Christy and Jenny, the writers that were helping him, they explained that he lied to Nickelodeon executives, saying that this was not a sexual innuendo when he knew that it was. In hindsight, Schneider agreed some jokes crossed the line and should be cut from episodes that continue to air or can still be streamed. All those jokes the show covered over the past 2 nights, every one of those jokes was written for a kid audience because kids thought they were funny, and only funny. Yeah, I'm sure as you had Ariana Grande shoving her feet in her mouth and trying to milk a potato. Let's be fucking for real. But that was then. Let's cut those jokes out of the show, just like I would have done 20 years ago or 25 years ago, he says. I want my shows to be popular. I want everyone to like the shows. The more people who like the shows, the happier I am. So if there's anything that needs to be cut because it's upsetting somebody, let's cut it. Where was that energy all those years ago? Why did people not feel safe speaking up, telling you that you made them feel uncomfortable? There's a reason why these people feel the way they do, and this apology that you're trying to give is not going to change the past. And truthfully, I like to say that people can change, but I don't think that Dan Schneider can. And it makes me feel like this apology is just him trying to slap a band-aid on a very bad situation, and it's just not gonna happen. You're canceled. Among the other revelations, Schneider claimed to have helped Amanda Bynes, star of the hit series The Amanda Show, who at age 16 or 17 years recounted attempted to separate herself from her parents. At one point in the video, he recalled a late night call from Amanda Bynes. It was very late, well after midnight, 1 or 2 in the morning. The phone rang, I answered it, and it was Amanda. She was in distress. She had some conflict with her parents, I think her father, and she called. I was immediately concerned for her safety, Schneider claimed in the video. He added that he arranged for Bynes to be picked up due to safety concerns. I felt better. She ended up being taken to the police. During his run, Schneider helped launch the careers of Amanda Bynes, Kenan Thompson, Victoria Justice, Miranda Cosgrove, Jeanette McCurdy, and many more. While no sexual allegations involving child actors have been made against Schneider, he made several apologies in the video for young actors who said they felt uncomfortable or vulnerable on his TV sets. There are definitely things I would do differently, he insisted, including having licensed therapists on set to oversee child actors and the filming process. The main thing I would change is how I treat people and everyone. I definitely at times didn't give people the best of me. I didn't show enough patience. I could be cocky and definitely overambitious and sometimes just straight up rude and obnoxious, and I'm sorry that I ever was. Alexa, play JoJo Too Little Too Late. I really don't think anybody that had went through this wants to hear you apologize to them. I think that they just want to move on with their lives. He also said, among other things, that he was wrong to ask anyone on set to give him massages. It was wrong. It was wrong that I ever put anyone in that position. It was wrong to do. I'd never do it today. I'm embarrassed that I did it then. I apologize to anybody that I ever put in that situation. You knew it was wrong then. You know it's wrong now. You're just apologizing now because you want to save face with the public. That's all this is. That's what my opinion of this whole situation is. I feel like this is all damage control because for years Dan Schneider has been dragged, and rightfully so, but now it's reached a tipping point where he has to address it, and the only thing he has to do is say that he's sorry. He also addressed the inappropriate jokes he told and the pranks that he pulled in the writer's room. Let me just say, no writer should ever feel uncomfortable in any writer's room, ever. Period. The end. No excuses, he said. Schneider insisted he should never have taken part, especially when he was in charge. You don't say. I can tell you why it hurts really bad for me. He continued, recalling early experiences in the entertainment business. I was green. I was scared. I was excited. It meant the world to me that I was getting these opportunities. And I went in and I got lucky because my first couple experiences were fantastic. And the fact that I didn't pay it forward for every employee that walked through my door, it hurts my heart because I should have. And I wish I could go back and fix that. He also discussed what critics online and in Quiet on the Set series point to as inappropriate on-air dare sketches where Schneider agreed in some cases went too far. Yeah, if you guys watch Quiet on the Set and you've seen where that guy was covered in peanut butter and had dogs lick it off, what? That's just gross. When I was watching the show over the past 2 nights, I now know that there were kids who did have problems with the on-air dares, and it breaks my heart. And I'm so sorry, and I'm so sorry to any kid who ever had to do a dare or anything that they didn't want to do or weren't comfortable doing, he said. Don't be sorry for it now. You're the one that fostered this environment. You're the one that kept these kids in this environment. Where was this energy then? It's only when you get called out for years and years and years you want to apologize and say that you've changed. I hope you don't have the opportunity to change. I hope that you're never given another show where you're able to write and have child actors. Your reputation precedes you now. On the making of the reaction video, a spokesperson for Schneider said Boogie reached out to the TV producer to see if he could ask him some questions about the series. Boogie wants to make it clear, though, that he is not a journalist and wasn't trying to be. He was offering to provide a platform to Dan to confront a lot of his previous behaviors. The statement continued, Boogie thought it was something worth doing if Dan was into it, so people could hear from Dan. Quiet on the Set is now streaming on Max. contracts. And I just think this whole situation is nuts. The fact that he even has the audacity, couth, tact, whatever you want to call it, to come out after all these years to try to address this after he has literally been exposed for the environment that he had these kids in, these child actors. I just think it's too little too late, just like I just said. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Have you watched Quiet on the Set yet? I really can't wait to finish the other 2 episodes. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it. If you're new here, please subscribe. Also, leave me the evil eye emoji in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave me your thoughts and opinions on this. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.